What if I told you that one of the world's most feared animals has a surprisingly caring side? When most people think of vampire bats, they imagine scary creatures flying through the night looking for blood. But scientists have discovered something remarkable about these tiny mammals. Vampire bats actually help each other survive by sharing food. And the way they do it is so unusual that it has become one of the most famous examples of cooperation in the animal kingdom. Let's find out why. Vampire bats are small bats found in parts of Central and South America. There are only 3 species of vampire bats in the world, and all of them feed on blood. Before you panic, it's important to know that they usually feed on livestock, birds, and other animals. They make a tiny cut with their sharp teeth and lap up a small amount of blood. But here's the problem. A vampire bat needs to feed almost every night. Unlike many animals that can go days or even weeks without food, a vampire bat can starve if it misses just a few meals. This creates a serious challenge. What happens when a bat spends the entire night searching for food and comes back empty-handed? Scientists studying vampire bats noticed something extraordinary. When a hungry bat returned to the colony without finding food, another bat that had successfully fed would sometimes help it. But how? The well-fed bat would regurgitate or bring up some of the blood it had consumed and share it with the hungry bat. In other words, vampire bats literally give part of their meal to another bat. This food-sharing behavior can save a starving bat's life. Without help, a bat that repeatedly fails to feed could die. But with assistance from another bat, it gets another chance to survive and hunt again the next night. They don't help just anyone. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Scientists discovered that vampire bats don't randomly share food with every bat in the colony. Instead, they tend to help bats they know. Some bats form long-term social relationships that can last for years. They groom each other, spend time together, and help one another when food is scarce. Researchers have even found that bats are more likely to share food with bats that have shared with them in the past. It's almost like they remember favors. If Bat A helps Bat B today, Bat B may return the favor in the future. This behavior is known as reciprocal altruism, a fancy scientific term for helping someone now with the expectation that they may help you later. Believe it or not, scientists have described some of these relationships as genuine friendships. Studies have shown that vampire bats can recognize individual bats and maintain preferred social partners. Even unrelated bats can develop strong bonds over time. When researchers introduced unfamiliar bats to one another, they observed that the bats gradually built relationships through grooming and food sharing. Over months and even years, strangers became trusted partners. That's surprisingly similar to how friendships develop in humans. Trust isn't built overnight. It grows through repeated positive interactions. In nature, survival is often a ruthless competition. Animals compete for food, territory, and mates. That's why scientists were fascinated to find such a high level of cooperation among vampire bats. Sharing food comes at a cost. Every drop of blood given away is food that the donor bat can't use for itself. Yet bats still do it. Why? Because helping a friend today may increase the chances that someone will help you tomorrow. Over time, both bats benefit. Over time, both bats benefit. This strategy helps entire social groups survive difficult periods when food is hard to find. What scientists learned. Research on vampire bats has become one of the classic examples of cooperation in animals. Their behavior shows that social relationships aren't limited to humans, dolphins, elephants, or primates. Even small bats can remember individuals, form long-term bonds, and help one another. These discoveries have changed how scientists think about animal intelligence and social behavior. The next time you hear the words vampire bat, don't just think of a spooky creature of the night. Think of an animal capable of trust, cooperation, and even something that looks a lot like friendship. So, did you know that vampire bats share food like friends? When one bat goes hungry, another may literally give up part of its meal to keep its companion alive. They remember past favors, build long-term social bonds, and help each other survive in one of nature's most surprising examples of teamwork. Sometimes, one of the most misunderstood animals on Earth turns out to have one of the biggest hearts. If you enjoyed this fact, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more amazing animal secrets from the natural world.